So now they're here. Spurs are in the finals. And they're going against a team that has been sitting around waiting to see what team they're going to get. And that team is the New York Knicks. One of the questions I got asked quite a bit over the last week or two was, if you had 100%, what percent of the Knicks doing what they're doing is based on them being phenomenal versus what percentage is the Eastern Conference being bad? And I went 80% Knicks, 20% conference being bad. Because I think that we all looked and said that it's worse than the Western Conference from start to finish. But there are some teams out here that are really interesting. And then the Knicks saw those teams and they bust their ass. It's not, the Knicks aren't just in the finals. They dominated their way to the finals. I think that is the differentiating factor between the conference being bad versus the Knicks being good. If they just happen to get here off the 6-game series, 7-game series, 7-game series, then yeah, they squeaked their way through. But no, they looked at those teams and they just, the two losses that they have are CJ McCollum game winners, y'all. That's it. That's it. Come back down 22 with 7 minutes and 52 seconds left. That's it. They did that. Close out a game, win it by 48. They do that. They did. So I think this Knicks team is very, very good. And the Spurs are a very, very good team too. Genuinely the perfect finals for Adam Silver specifically to have the biggest market in the league finally get back to this place in the New York Knicks, and to have them go against the face of the league and future face of the league and Victor Wembanyama is exactly what Adam Silver could have asked for. I sit with him and everybody else when I say I want this to be a long series. I'm not prepared for the season to end, if that makes sense. This is all I've known for a lot of time this season. So one of these teams is going to raise that Larry O.B. and we're going to celebrate in honor of them and for them. But then it's going to be over and I'm going to be very sad. I told my wife yesterday, at the very most, I got 7 NBA basketball games to watch left. 7. And that's crazy to think about. She said, yay, you know. I think she kind of want her husband back. I think she over for 4. I think she want to see the Knicks sweep for her. But yeah, it is interesting there. But thinking about it, the matchup wise, the times they played against each other in the regular season, the one big X factor that was in the Knicks' favor was Mitchell Robinson. So when Mitchell Robinson was reported that he broke his pinky and that he needed surgery, I was so disappointed and so sad. They say he's going to play through it. He's going to be ready for game 1. I guess he's going to wear a cast. But if you remember those games, Mitchell Robinson added a level of electricity into that cup game with his offensive rebounding. And I think that is a place where the Knicks can try to be better than the Spurs. And I don't know, defense of the Spurs, game 7, they were the best offensive rebounding team between them and OKC. Keldon, Wemby himself, you know, all these guys really crashed the glass and got extra opportunities. And the Spurs are not the same team that they were all the way back then, but you know, you have to look at that and say, hey, how can the Knicks add these extra possessions? Hey, will Mitch Johnson try to do a hack of Mitch to get him off the court because he is so much of a guy that can swing a game and swing a series with his extra possessions? Karl-Anthony Towns. Are we getting Karl-Anthony Jokic or are we getting Karl-Anthony Towns as far as like his role within this series? Because one thing we know that the Spurs are going to do, they're going to park Victor Wembanyama on Josh Hart and let him roam. That's what he's done all series long. He finds a non-shooter and they're going to run a one-man zone where Wembanyama can just roam, and if Josh Hart hit his threes, like Caruso hit his threes in game 1, we'll try to win that game through that. I think that, especially considering Dub and Mitchell's injuries, the Knicks are a more well-rounded offensive team than the Thunder just were. They got better shooters. I mean, Mikal Bridges at one point before his closeout game versus the Cavs was shooting like 70% on his last 100 attempts. They went to the free throw line and OG Anunoby took free throws and it said he was shooting 54% from the field, 49% from 3 not in the series, in the entire postseason. Karl-Anthony Towns is the self-proclaimed best three-point shooting big in the history of the sport. So yes, them guys, and not to mention Jalen Brunson and the solo action, so they have more offensive talent than what OKC was able to put together in that last series. I wonder how many times Jalen Brunson does see 2, right? Because of the extra jump shooting that you get from the New York Knicks. I didn't even mention like Miles McBride off the bench or Landry Shamet, who missed 1 total 3 the entirety of the conference finals versus the Cavs. So they just have extra shooting in the way that OKC doesn't. But also I've seen this Spurs team be very versatile. I don't think that they look at what they did against the Thunder and say, that's the exact same scheme we're running against Jalen Brunson. We saw no. Because those two type of guys are completely different, right? So I can't wait to see exactly what game one looks like. And also what we saw in that series is both of these teams are willing to adjust. Shea saw doubles for the first 2 games of the series. They said, he's doing too good passing. Let's play him straight up and let's show help on all these different places. And that made him be more decisive in his decision making and made it more difficult for him to be a super plus passer or a super plus creator. OG Anunoby is going to be guarding Victor Wembanyama. And I do think that OG has the opportunity to be not the Wemby stopper, but like he's kind of the perfect type of defender that I would want if I'm guarding Victor Wembanyama for a 7-game series. He's kind of the perfect blend between the two things that teams have been trying against Wemby for the entirety of his career. Maybe you can make him a little bit more uncomfortable by playing physical. OG Anunoby can play physical, damn it. Maybe you get a little bit uncomfortable by putting guys that are smaller than him that can get under. OG Anunoby smaller than him, so he can get under. So he is like perfect for that. So I can't wait to see what type of performances we get from Victor Wembanyama. I can't wait to see what Jalen Brunson is able to do. There's been a lot of conversation since Jalen Brunson has turned into a superstar about could a guy of his size be good enough to lead a team to a championship? And they're potentially 4 wins away from saying like, yeah, that can happen. But it's another one of the history things that I was mentioning earlier, where history tells you that you really only have Allen Iverson in his finals appearance in 2001. You had like Steph Curry, I don't count as a small guard compared to these guys. I think Steph Curry's like 6'3", while Brunson is like a generous 6'1". AI was 6 foot even. Even like Chris Paul, man. Chris Paul's only made it once, and the one time he made it, he was a secondary guy instead of the lead guy. So, he could potentially put to bed. And Zeke, don't forget, Isaiah Thomas is the prototypical small guard to be the best player on the championship team. But since then, it hasn't been anybody. So excited to see how he shows up potentially in this series. And ultimately, I think it's going to boil down to seeing what's in front of you and adjusting. Mitch Johnson did an amazing job adjusting throughout the course of the playoffs. I think Mike Brown on the offensive side has done an amazing job of adjusting. And I've seen people like underrate the Knicks in this one and their defense. And again, level of competition, whatever you would want to do, they've been the best version of themselves defensively, like right now. So they have been the best defensive team in the entire playoffs, which is crazy to say out loud. I don't know if they're that good that the numbers say, but they're definitely better than what you think they are. You look at Jalen Brunson, you look at Karl-Anthony Towns, you say, that probably ain't good enough defensively. I think it is good enough defensively. If one of these teams win in 5 or 4, I'm going to be pissed. I just want more basketball. I don't know. People are going to ask me for my official finals prediction. So here it is. I've thought about it for about, 15 hours. I mean, game 7 just happened. So. I'm going to go Spurs 6. Spurs 6. It hurts me to say that, New York. Hurts me to say that. But I got no dog in this fight, but it hurts me to say that. I think the city, I don't care who wins. Actually, I just want good basketball and I want as many games as possible. But if the Knicks were to win, I cannot wait to watch the celebration. I don't know who I got to follow on Instagram that's going to be like on Instagram live after they close out a series, but I need to find that person. If you know somebody that will go live in the streets of New York if they win the finals, please let me know, because I'm following that person ASAP. Because I need to see people on the street poles and on the street signs and flipping over cars, because it's going to happen. It's New York, baby. And it's been 50 years since they got one of them.
Hit subscribe for more news, highlights, and analysis from the NBA on NBC.